With email, educate or entertain. Like it's got to be one of the two, or in a perfect world, it's both. It genuinely needs to be valuable. People might click on the first one, first two, first three if you're trying to like clickbait people through it, but like it needs to be valuable, and however that's defined to your end user, or people are just going to disregard.
Email is like a mini landing page, right? If you can incorporate some sort of CRO tactics and messaging to nudge people towards generating a click, a conversion, really showcase what your differentiating factor is, your strategic advantage. We're trying to give our consumers all the information they need to make an informed buying decision. So when they see that email, it takes away any question or doubt. If you're a brand that's not doing that and your competitor is doing that, your competitor will likely win in that scenario.
Wrong size, wrong color, didn't look right in the living room? There are hundreds of reasons your customers return products, but returns don't have to be goodbyes. They can be an opportunity to complete the shopping experience. Built exclusively for Shopify, Loop lets you create a delightful return experience to attract and retain more customers. By making it easy for your customers to find products they love, they'll come back again and again. See why thousands of Shopify brands like Allbirds, Chubbies, and Brooklinen trust Loop as their return partner at loopreturns.com/DTC. All right, it's all killer, no filler, the D2C podcast. I'm Eric Dick. Today, I'm here with creative geniuses Cam and Alex Ortega from the Pilot House team. We're talking about email this Q4. And let's just start. Cam, is email overrated or underrated right now in your mind?
Well, we were talking before the show. We're just riding off the back of the phenomenal DTC event that you hosted. The DTC team hosted, I guess, just over a week ago now. And our friend Ryan from True Earth was talking about email and kind of how big the piece of pie is in terms of revenue it is for his business. And I think he referenced somewhere in the ballpark of 25 to 30% of revenue comes through email. And I just remember the reaction in the crowd was just like, holy shit. And I think generally what I took from that was people completely underestimate email in terms of a tool that they can use to increase profits for their business. So yeah, absolutely. I think email is undervalued, underestimated, whatever you want to call it.
And Alex, your point about real estate, I think, is really apt as well. Just because it's like you've paid to bring all of these people into your world, why you've got to use this more offline method to reach them, so you don't have to pay for them again.
Yeah, exactly that. I think email, when you look at it from how it contributes to your bottom line, it could drastically improve your customer lifetime value, right? Facebook, a lot of the time, if you're acquiring somebody at top of funnel, you might just reach them one time. They're only a one-time purchaser. Email really helps in building that relationship and also bringing them back time and time again, increasing your lifetime value to 1.5, 2 times, 3 times, which just boosts your Shopify revenue.
So I bet there's a lot of this idea that email is still undervalued potentially by people. What is it? Do you think people are sort of like just going through the motions a little bit, like doing sending things out without really thinking about their audience, thinking about their cadence? Like what when you Alex on the creative side on email, like what's your sense of where people are going wrong with their email campaigns?
Well, if you've listened to Jordan's previous DCC email, I know he went into depth around what type of offers you should be building. Anytime we pitch a client on the email side, the biggest problem is their segmentation. Email is so technical that a lot of people don't actually understand the nuances of emails and how to effectively build your lists. So I think because it is so intimidating, a lot of people place it on the back burner. Right? They looked at things like building an organic social media channel or paid ads because, that's more kind of widely accessible and it's easier to navigate. But email is much more nuanced, especially, like I said, when you're building out lists, engaged lists, welcome flows, campaigns. It's also much more hands-on. It's more design intensive. So, that's kind of my take on the whole situation there.
Jordan was on the podcast a few weeks ago. He gave us our 9 emails to include in our Black Friday Cyber Monday sequence. And I said in that podcast that I would include the full list of emails, and I never did. And I didn't realize until Cam wrote it out for me today. So we'll make sure we actually include this list of the suggested offers and campaigns that we suggest as like a starting point that you can kind of use for your Black Friday Cyber Monday sequence. Anything of note to add to the sequence that Jogo laid out there, Cam?
I don't know about anything to add, but I don't think this is particularly unique. He even said it in the last podcast. Like if you just Google Black Friday, Cyber Monday, email flow strategy, there's probably going to be lots of different templates that came up. But it's a good podcast to listen to because Jordan goes into really good detail, like kind of about each stage and each email that you want to send. But it's funny enough, I in prep for this podcast, just kind of did a poll on the social side and was getting a pulse check from our clients in terms of what we're doing on like the lead gen side, building up it for Q4 now that we've rolled into October. And I feel like if you're a brand listening to this, I feel like, and you haven't prioritized Black Friday or just Q4 emails in general, lead gen obviously is a really important thing that you should be thinking about if you haven't been thinking about it previously in this year. And I think that would be the only kind of layer that I would add to Jogo's kind of sequence that he laid out is like the build up to Black Friday, Cyber Monday is obviously so important. We've talked about it lots in the podcast. So that would be the only kind of additional add I would put on top of the list.
And when it comes to lead generation, we're talking about things like contests. We're talking about things, obviously ramping purchases up. Those are also emails. They become leads as well. But what anything else you'd add to like ways that we're generating leads successfully heading into Q4?
Right now, the biggest thing that you could do for lead gen is offering exclusive offers or early bird access. It seems that with every Black Friday, there's a race to see who can put out their offers as fast as possible, so who can do it first. We have clients that are running Black Friday at the beginning of November, right? And it's typically because, marketing costs are increasing during that time, really busy time of the year. So what we're doing is we're running lead gen ads through Facebook. And we're directing them to a specific landing page. And the whole premise behind it is, one, you can get a maybe exclusive 15% offer right now for signing up. The other thing is you just get early access or VIP access. It's all about how you frame it, right? Through there, you could also set up an exclusive offer only to your email list, right? So now consumers are getting kind of this VIP treatment. They're not waiting until November 25th or Cyber Monday. That's kind of how we're doing it.
I love that. Do you know what the threshold, like what are you aiming to acquire those leads for in relation to maybe the purchase price? Like, are you, I know with JBW, we're talking, $500 plus purchase prices in a lot of cases. What, in this example, like what's the most we'd be willing to pay for a lead that doesn't have a purchase attached to it?
I think in competitive price there would probably be like $3, right? $3 to $10 in and around that range. And the nice thing about creating your own landing page is that you get more qualified leads, higher intent, right? You can create a lead gen through Facebook, but a lot of those leads will come in cheaper, but they're low quality, right? Those aren't people that are going to convert later on down the road or even use the code. So we want quality leads, and we're more than happy to pay for a quality lead because, like I said, a quality lead will help increase the lifetime value of a customer. They're showing intent.
Now, when you offer discounts in these emails, I know this was more for exclusive access, but when you do offer discounts, what are you finding is working better right now? Percentages or dollar amounts?
Depends on the value of the product, what's the price point. But, one thing that we're doing in JBW, for example, was they were offering $25 off your first timepiece. But that isn't that compelling of an offer when you think about, a timepiece can be up to $2,000, $3,000, or, their lowest price point is, let's say, $400. Not much of a discount there. So we switched to 15% off. Now that's just testing, but I think we're going to see better results simply just by making that change. It also allows us to run that offer as an evergreen offer year round, right? Not just for lead gen, but during lull periods where there aren't major promos or holidays happening, 15% off your next timepiece. That's a pretty compelling offer any day of the year.
Totally. Nice. Let's chat email design a little bit. What, when on the D2C side, our sales emails work best because we're selling info and events and things like that when they're pretty as plain text as possible. When it just seems like, hey, here's a note from me. What are you seeing on the email design side heading into Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Alex?
We're seeing a lot of flyers, calling out the big bold discounts, door crashing deals, etc. But I think it's important to get the offer across clearly and concisely. Having a strong merchandising section that showcases your best deals or most popular products. Showcase the savings during that time. The was now perfect example. Crossed out old price, new price is highlighted in red, for example. Things like if you have an installment plan provider like Afterpay or Klarna, showcase the reduced prices and broken down into installments, right? What that does is demonstrate accessibility and ease of purchase, and it just creates far more intent. The other thing that I like to test through that experience is it doesn't have to be this grand masterpiece of an email. Like you said, a lot of your emails in DTC, they're just more personalized. Like, here are these notes. And last year, I remember getting emails from, that were framed as if they were an email from the founder. It felt like it was an email from a friend. It was more personalized. And we've seen that do really well in the account, in just like evergreen offers within email, touching on the discount or the offer, why you're creating this offer. It's just a more personalized approach, and people actually take the time to read those emails versus something that's always just visually appealing.
It makes me think of the thing The Hustle did a few years ago, where they did this whole thing where it was like, where they sent out something that looked like it was like a reply all to the whole company, and it's like, here's our top secret offer, and it like leaked out ahead of time, and then it was this big like, oops, but it got all this attention. And I'm sure it had massive engagement because people were like, oh, they were let in on something they weren't supposed to see. I thought that was pretty masterful marketing.
I feel like that's just a rule of thumb for content in general. Like, educate or entertain. Like, it's got to be one of the two, or in a perfect world, it's both. But with email, I feel like if you're the one responsible for constructing the email, or you're managing the team that's constructing your email design and copywriting, email is an interesting one. Like, it genuinely needs to be valuable, or people might click on the first one, first two, first three, if you're trying to like clickbait people through it. But like, it needs to be valuable, and however that's defined to your end user, or people are just going to disregard because people ultimately have to click through to actually see what you want to say to them.
iOS 14.5. The infamous Apple update left D2C brands struggling to find and market to the right audiences. That's why hundreds of D2C brands are turning to Black Crow AI to boost their holiday marketing. Their plug-and-play machine learning technology measures in real time every visitor's likelihood to buy. You can then use these predictions to build predictive audiences for retargeting and prospecting. In short, Black Crow AI can significantly boost ROAS by helping you specifically target people who will actually want to buy from you. Find out why brands like Magic Spoon, Barabee, and Liquid IV are using Black Crow AI to supercharge their holiday marketing efforts. Visit blackcrow.ai/DTC to request a 30-day free trial. One of the most important things in selling, obviously, is sort of urgency and scarcity. And there's obviously, with Black Friday, Cyber Monday, there's some urgency built in there. It's only this 4-day period, although we like to stretch it to months sometimes. What are our best tips for inspiring urgency and really hammering home scarcity around Q4 with people?
So, I mean, I think the visual, there's like, when it comes to email, there's a visual component, and there's obviously the copy, the messaging, the story that you're trying to get across. And I think there's like some really simple, we wrote down like some really simple rules from a copy perspective, but these don't necessarily only lend themselves to copy. They all kind of blend into the overall visual as well. But yeah, in terms of increasing urgency, simple rule, like, use numbers. think about what someone's Gmail inbox is going to look like, come the morning of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, whatever day it is. They are going to be flooded with emails from different companies and newsletters that they've signed up with. And if your offer isn't clear and concise and inviting to people for people to click on, like they're just not going to click on it unless they have a really high like affinity to your brand and they're really passionate. Another simple one, make them feel special, kind of like meet them where they're at. So if they've signed up for a VIP deal, a secret offer, a whatever, make sure that language is fluid all the way through into the actual subject preview text that they're seeing in the emails, into the actual copy that you've included within the email. So, use those things, use those buzzwords: limited, exclusive, secret, VIP, whatever it may be.
Door crasher. I liked Alex's use of door crasher earlier. That's a great
Yeah.
one.
I mean, in the build-up, maybe less relevant on the actual day of, but on the build-up, where Alex was talking about how brands are starting to communicate their offers really, really early in the month. In that build-up, make sure it's really clear what your offer is and when it's going to be available for people. Unless you're running something that's a bit of like a mystery deal, but people need to know what they're going to be able to buy at a discount and when it's going to be available. So use the actual number date whenever you can, and make sure that it's really clear and concise what they're going to be able to get at that promotional price point. And then the last thing I wrote here is, and maybe this lends itself more into the visuals or a combination of both, but have some fun with it. Like make it holiday centric. People absolutely love Thanksgiving. Who doesn't like to eat turkey? So, make it punny, like make it relevant to like the moment in which people are going to be reading your email. So like people are going to be sitting there with like a super full belly of turkey. Connect your promo to like that feeling of sitting on the couch full of turkey. Like simple examples of like, I flipped through some examples online, and it's like, are you full of turkey? Like get a pair of comfortable shorts to like lounge on the couch in, or like, you wake up the next day and you're like, are you ready to run your turkey mile? Get these fantastic running shoes to run in, speak to your customer and try and put yourselves in their shoes the day in which they're going to be reading your emails.
And don't be afraid to be a little weird, as Abe said the other day on the podcast a couple weeks ago. Just like get weirdness is how personality comes out. That's really one of the big secrets of D2C newsletters, that we just started writing about business, but we were willing to be a little weird and fun. And it's really helped us. Thanksgiving is a really interesting one, because I know like back, from my affiliate marketing days and some of my other marketing days, like Thanksgiving was always a really challenging time in terms of like getting attention with ads. So it's interesting to think that, yeah, you can tap into it a little bit more with emails, and sort of link the nostalgia, link those very visual, things we've all experienced, whether it's turkey or pie or whatever, to your offer in a way that resonates. So I love it. I'm very excited about my turkey. We're headed into Canadian Thanksgiving, which is less relevant to our American listeners. But I'm very excited about that. What else? Is there anything else from a writing perspective that you recommend goes into people's Q4 email strategies?
I think to add to what Cam was saying, I think really hyping up the event, right? Hyping up this time of year. For a lot of brands, they go, I don't know if I can say this, but they go balls to the wall with the offer that they're able to provide. Like I said, they really are door crashers for some of the brands that I work with. Their deals are the best deals of the year, right? And really showcasing that this isn't going to happen again. This isn't going to happen anytime soon. Hype up the situation, right? The day that we've all been waiting for, et cetera. On the copy side too, right? Looking ahead, the holidays are a month after Black Friday. Using messaging for like, do your holiday shopping now. Get ahead of the rush, save now, et cetera. Whatever that messaging is, but just taking a look at that entire time of year and seeing how you can create angles from it. Like Cam said, Thanksgiving, right? Next thing is Christmas or holidays, whatever it is. Gifting, big angle there too. So it's not just about buying for yourself.
I think gifting is the biggest sleeper of the season in a way, right? And all the brands that we spoke to at this mastermind were all thinking of how they could orient all all their distribution channels towards gifting as well, whether it's Amazon, like making sure that there's an image in the, in your product images of your product being gifted. Like there's just so many ways to, take advantage of that gifting phenomenon, because that's where I think a huge percentage of holiday sales actually come from.
Yeah, Jogo talked about it in the last podcast, that perfect pairing email that was like in the middle of the sandwich of the sequence that he talked about. But I totally agree. I think it's underrated. We had a note here on, like, if for me, definitely, but I would imagine the bulk of people are in the same mindset come, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. There's never a period in time in which they're more ready to pull out their wallet and make a purchase. But I think like the mindset, and again, I'm leaning on some of the language that we learned from Ryan from this DTC event, but it's like transactional psychology. There's like parent, there's adult, and there's child. And when it comes to that weekend, people are thinking rationally, especially your engaged segments, they're thinking about, they've been waiting for this moment. All you need to do is present them with an offer that is compelling enough to make them purchase the product. So gifting is a great example of like, hey, if you're thinking about purchasing a product for yourself or someone else or whatever it may be, there is no better time. Here's an offer, take it. You've got no reason not to. And doing that in a really simple way, it's just a great strategy.
Yeah, so to add to what Cam was saying there around people are really sitting on their wallet, they're getting bombarded with emails and they're making more rational buying decisions. There's a lot of competition in the space. So one thing to remember is email is like a mini landing page, right? If you can incorporate some sort of CRO tactics and messaging to nudge people towards generating a click, a conversion, really showcase what your differentiating factor is, or your strategic advantage, as we like to call it, is. Somebody might be looking into buying a similar product during that time. Maybe they have a similar offer, right? But you might be that brand that offers maybe free shipping without a minimum order value. Or if you have payment options, right? Showcase that. That just makes it easier for them to afford that maybe larger purchase. Your unique selling props about the product or service. Maybe you have a really easy return policy or a money back guarantee. So this is one thing we've been incorporating within emails from a design perspective, because we're trying to give our consumers all the information they need to make an informed buying decision. So when they see that email, it takes away any question or doubt of how easy this purchase process could be, and they click to the next page. If you're a brand that's not doing that and your competitor is doing that, your competitor will likely win in that scenario.
I love it. We preach landing pages all the time on the show, obviously, and to think of your email as that first landing page, I think is really smart. Then I'm curious, from an email perspective, do you then often just drive to the PDP after that? Do you drive to another landing page? Do you drive to their homepage? Where do you recommend people actually link out to on these emails?
Well, emails, depending on the email, an email can have kind of something I call section blocks, so multiple section blocks. Link to the pertaining CTA, right? If it's shop bestsellers, link it to your bestsellers. If it's shop a specific product, link it to that specific product. So it can vary. For kind of generic shop all, send them to your bestsellers page. Right?
Nice. Very cool. Nice. Well, thanks for coming on the All Killer No Filler D2C podcast today, guys. This was a lot of fun. Any big Thanksgiving plans? Will either of you get? I know you're in Turks and Caicos there, Alex, but will either of you get your turkey fix this Thanksgiving?
I'll be eating jerk chicken on the beach. That's what I'll be doing.
Amazing. How about you, Cam?
I'm making my first ever turkey this Thanksgiving. Milestone event for me.
Is that what the sourdough loaf was for? Are you going to use stuff? Are you going to do sourdough stuffing?
No, that was just to stuff my face this morning with sourdough.
Oh, nice. Great. As I was stuffing my face with a breakfast sandwich, I saw Cam on the street, in case anyone was wondering. Nice. Okay, thanks, guys. This was fun.
Thanks so much, Eric.
All right, later.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you're not getting the D2C newsletter, you can subscribe for free at directtoconsumer.co. And if you want to learn more about Pilot House's all-killer, no-filler services, take off to pilothouse.co. I'm Eric Dick, and this has been the D2C podcast. We'll see you next time.